I'm thinking about returning to work. I mean, literally just saying the words were so scary to me. What do I have to give? Who is going to pay me for this work that I can do? It's okay to think about it and talk about it and then pause, and then to jump back in when it feels right again to you too.
Today, we have a really special episode for you because today is the day we officially begin something I've been so excited about called Share Good, Do Good. Each month, we are going to highlight a cause and an organization that is doing real good in the world. And for that entire month, every single podcast download will equal $1 donated directly to that organization through a sponsor who believes in the work they're doing. I love this idea because it means that this community isn't just a group of women who are trying to build good lives. We're a group of women who are actually helping build good in the world together. For our very first Share Good, Do Good month, we are supporting a cause that has my whole heart. We are supporting an organization that helps women return to the workplace so they can support themselves and their families. Women who often just need confidence, skills, support, and someone to believe in them again. Today, I'm also so excited because my guest is Jane Clayton, who is the executive director of Return and Rise. She works directly with these women and helps them rebuild confidence, gain the skills, and step back into the workforce with stability and purpose. This is such meaningful work, and I'm so excited for you to hear from her and learn from her today. We also, I wish I had a drum roll, get to introduce the sponsor who is making this month possible. And I couldn't be more grateful that it is a company I deeply respect and admire, Capita Financial Network. One of the reasons I was so excited when Capita wanted to be involved is because they genuinely care about helping individuals and families build stable and confident financial lives. They do comprehensive, personalized financial planning, and they also have some of the best female financial advisors I know. Women who really understand families, long-term planning, and helping people feel confident about their future. They are the ones funding the donations for this entire month, which means every single download of this podcast this month turns into a real donation to help women return to the workforce and support themselves and their families. They also offered something really generous for listeners of the show. If you've been trying to get your finances in order or think through your financial future, they offer a free consultation, either virtual or in person. And all you have to do is mention that you're a listener of the Lizzy Jensen Show. There is really nothing like the peace that comes when you feel like you really understand what's happening financially in your life and have your house in order. So I'm so grateful for Capita for supporting this cause and also offering that to you as listeners. All right. Jane Clayton, welcome to the show.
I am so happy to be here with you, Lizzy.
I'm so happy to have you here. I feel like the whole journey of how this episode came to be, and then this whole month campaign of sharing good and doing good and getting to trial that with you is a dream come true. I truly feel so grateful and excited about this.
Well, what's neat is that it all just fell into place, the right invitation and the right timing. And so I'm so glad that it worked out and that we're here and making it happen.
Me too. And it's going to be a great episode. So from the intro, you guys have already heard a little bit about what Return and Rise does and a little bit about Jane, but I would love you to share just a little bit about the organization and a little bit more importantly about you.
Okay. Well, I'll start with me. Okay. I am a returner. So I stayed home. I went to BYU, graduated with a degree, worked a little bit before I married and had 4 kids. And I love being a mom. It's my favorite job in the whole world. And really enjoyed volunteering with my kids in school. And as they got a little older, I found that I had a little more time and a little more energy to give back in my community. So I signed up to be involved with the PTA. And something unique about my story is that I have lived all over the world and in many different places. So I've kind of had to restart over a lot of times. And with that is making new friends and finding new friends. And I have found that if you want to make friends, it's great to get involved in your community and to serve, because usually people don't turn away service and volunteering. So I found that in specifically in Cedar City. We were down there for 5 years in Southern Utah, and I needed friends. So I signed up for the PTA and saw through the years that there were needs that weren't being met, and had some success there and really loved building a community and making friends. And that experience led to my desire to do more as I had more time. Volunteered at various organizations, the Iron County Care and Share, which was a great opportunity for me. And then we moved again. So we found ourselves back in Utah, not back in Utah, but northern Utah, and I had more time, and I had friends who were involved in service that invited me to join them in service. And this fire ignited in me, and it all started with Kristen Andrist and hauling period products in the back of my Suburban to a Title I school and dropping them off and seeing the needs that were there, and the joy that came from connecting with a community that I didn't have direct connection with. And I approached her and Emily at the Policy Project and said, I would love to come and volunteer my time with what you're doing. So that grew into more volunteer time. And then to the point where I was like, I think I'm ready to return to work. I have the desire to give back and to have that contribution lead to some monetary gains for me. So I think that transition can be tricky sometimes, but I was ready to make money and to go to work. And that led to a couple of different job opportunities. And then eventually the position of executive director at Return and Rise. So that's a really fast explanation of kind of my journey. But I am the executive director at Return and Rise, and we are passionate about helping women return to work who've been home with their kids or have just for illness or any reason had a break. And we know how hard it is to get back into the workforce. And we've created a program that really shrinks that timeline and helps you with new skills, confidence, and abilities to retell your story, to share what your career break was and how it's helped you to come back stronger, more qualified to re-enter the workplace.
So good. And I feel so passionate about the work Return and Rise is doing. We've talked about this off camera, but I have friends and family members who were in positions, some of them their own choosing, like you, like, hey, I'm excited and I'm ready.
Yeah.
And others who were like, I have to at this point and I need to provide for my family.
Yes.
And to know that there's a place where women can come and get that help. You are a 501c3.
We are.
And it's free for women to work with you right now.
It is free. What we are offering is free. And I hope whoever's listening right now that is either recently divorced or has a husband who's lost their job and now finds himself needing to contribute to their finances, or is a new widow or has been a widow for a while and is finally gaining that confidence and energy back to work. Anyone who finds themselves in a position where they are even thinking about the idea of returning to work, come and talk to me. Reach out to me. I would love to talk to you about how easy it is to take the first step. I think that first step is so scary because as women, we think it needs to be perfectly planned out. And if we can take away that fear of having to be perfectly aligned and have an end goal in mind, I think we would have hundreds, if not thousands of women taking that step to exploring transitioning back to work.
I love it. Tell us a little bit about that time when you were volunteering and doing all of that. What did you learn about yourself through that that's helped you now say, these are the skills that I actually have? Did that teach you about you? Did that teach you about what you liked? Like, what did you learn in that process?
Oh, that's such a great question. I learned that I really love connection. I love bringing people together. I love bringing people together for a good cause. I learned that I have skills that I can throw a huge event and it's actually energizing to me, not stressful. I love breaking down a big project and taking into small details. These are things I had already been doing in my callings for my church and in children's classrooms, and to take it to a different level was just really rewarding. So that's something I learned in the process. Something else I learned is that women undervalue what their skills are. And I want to share just a little story about someone I've worked with recently. And we have these online cohorts. Right now, we like to keep them small. So it's going to be anywhere from like 10 to 15 women. And we meet weekly for 1 hour and 10 weeks in a row. And about by the third week, people start opening up. And one of the exercises we go through is tell me 5 things, or write down 5 things, 5 skills, 5 things you're proud of. And you would be surprised how many of the women stare into their computers and tell me, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know. I don't have any successes. I don't know what to say. And I think, I know you have 100, but you've been so busy giving to everyone else. You haven't taken the time to look at yourself and think, what do I do I do well? And what's something that I enjoy? And what's something that gives me energy? And it has been so rewarding to see these women dig deep and look inside and identify the things that they're good at and feel proud of them. And there was a one time that a woman said, do you know what? I don't know what I'd put down, but I know who I can call. I'm going to call my sister and I'm going to call my friends and ask them what I'm good at. And on one hand, it seemed heartbreaking to me, but on the other, I thought, she knows where to turn. She knows who her champions are, and they're going to help her identify those skills and power within her so that she can take this next step. And I was just so proud of her for doing that.
And there's so many good tips in what you just said that if you can't even see it yet, and now you're in a new position of life, whether it's returning back to work or any other change, really, to say, from some outside perspective, it's hard to think clearly, I think, when you're emotional and when you have a lot on your mind and you're maybe feeling the pressure of going back to work.
Yes.
But to say, for someone else to say, can you help me see what I don't see in myself? That's such a beautiful gift that we should all tap into more often as women, because if you received a call like that, if I received a call like that from my friend,
yes,
I would love an opportunity to gush to a friend all the things that I love about them and what I see in them. And sometimes we need someone else to tell us when we're a little beaten down.
And the line, I when someone says, I'm just a mom, I'm like, let me tell you what those skills translate to in a workplace. You're multitasking, you're handling schedules, you're scheduling, you're advocating, you are managing a team of people. So just there, inherent in what you're doing as a mother, there is just a huge long list of skills that translate into the workplace.
And I've thought a lot about, I want to talk to you about imposter syndrome. And why is it hard for women to see that they could be good at something when it's paid and when it's work? But when it's volunteer or home, they just jump into it. What do you think the difference is? Like, why does it feel harder all of a sudden now when you're pitching yourself to someone or you're trying to come up with something you're good at?
I think that imposter syndrome comes from this idea that there is an ideal, that your employer or the employer is looking for something exact, that they want someone who knows 100% before they come exactly how to do the job. We come up with all these ideas, these barriers to our success. And the truth is, everyone on some level is making it up. They're making it up as they go. They had to learn how to be a CEO. They had to learn how to be a manager. They had to learn how to be a leader. And I think, especially as women, we think that people were born that way, that they just were born with the ability to lead and to guide and to run a corporation. And so that thought, that idea that there's perfection holds us back, and it literally stops us in our tracks and keeps us from even taking the first step. So one of my favorite things to do is to debunk that myth and say, you can start a job and quit. And it's almost like, really, we can? Or you can start a job and decide it's not for you and switch completely to a different field. That the door is open and the world is yours to explore. And it is so fun to see how liberating it is. And you kind of see their shoulders relax and a smile come onto their face because they think, oh, okay, then I can do this. If I can fail, if I can try something and decide I don't want to do that, then I can take the first step.
I think in a way you're giving them the power back to them. That it's not like if you apply and even if you get the job, you're beholden to an employer.
Yeah.
You can say, I don't like it anymore. This wasn't exactly for me. Like, you have the power as a woman. And I wonder if that's part of it. I hadn't thought of this before, but once you become a mom, there's you don't back out.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in it. You've made that decision.
Yes.
You're going to do that forever, right?
Yes.
And so if we approach the workplace the same way, there's a lot of pressure that doesn't have to be on our shoulders that just ends up there because it's like, that's how I do everything. I enter it in and I'm all in,
Yeah.
but to be a little bit more playful and like, I'm still learning about myself and what I like. And obviously you're going to be honest to your employer and keep your contracts. But
Yes.
outside of that, it's you decide where you want to spend your time and what's best for you. Yeah.
Exactly. I also think that for my age demographic, there was this idea that you got a job and you stayed in it till you retired. And the work industry is just so different now. Men are changing jobs all the time. Women change jobs all the time. It's a much more fluid environment than it used to be, where I think I grew up with this thought that you got a job and you stayed there till you were done. So I think that also helps with just having more opportunity to try. I love to tell the people we work with, I want you to go and apply for a job knowing you don't want it. Just go experiment. And it's also just this brand new idea that they could do something like that. They could say no to a job offer, or they could go just to get experience.
So good. Again, approaching it with some playfulness.
Yes.
And I don't know everything and I don't know what I don't know yet.
Yes.
But I can only find that out when I take some steps in and I try some things. And I mean, it's the same thing. I think it's interesting because women are really good at volunteering. We show up in droves to all the things, whether it's in our church congregations or in our communities. And we approach it with that. Like, we're looking for a community. We want to find a place where it works well with our kids. And we know that we don't have to do it forever. And if you'd approach a job the same way, but I think what's interesting is then we shift in our minds and we're like, oh, but the money thing, I can be playful, but once someone's paying me, then there's a pressure there that I don't know if I deserve that, or I don't know. Like, I think a lot of us have barriers. I for sure have in my life to say, even bringing it up that I would want to be paid for something, or I deserve to be paid for something, makes me start to feel a little dirty, or like I don't have as pure of a heart anymore, or the same motives because now money's involved. Have you seen that as you've worked with women?
I have. I think that we are used to contributing in all, and I had a great conversation with our friend Kristen Andrus about this, that we contribute in all different spheres of our lives, and contributing for a financial benefit is just a different way of contributing, and it's not worse than contributing for free. So we'll build up organizations, we'll serve, we'll go to really hard lengths, to accomplish goals for free. And it feels totally valid and safe. But the second we say, you're going to have to pay me for this, it's like, oh, what's my worth? How much do I deserve? I don't have experience. You don't want to pay me. We really aren't comfortable with the idea of being valued and being paid for that value. And I hope that we can break down that barrier, that it's not worse to contribute and be paid for your contribution. It actually feels really good. Yeah.
And you are doing work that has intrinsic value.
Yes.
And so to say I can be paid, what does that allow me to do now in my life? If I can work to the top of my interest and the top of my credential, and now use the exchange of value to help me in my life for the things that I don't want to spend time doing, or that I can't spend time doing if I'm going to be doing this work for other people.
Yes.
It matters. It actually enables you to do your most important work and make your most important impact. And it's not something we need to shy away from. I love that you do your work in these small cohorts, because I can imagine even us having a conversation with two of us, I already feel a little bit more empowered and enabled, right? And if you have 10 women in there who all say, I felt the same, and then you can say, no, but that's not logical and that isn't truth.
Yeah.
To then hear everyone else having that breakthrough, I would assume would give you more courage to say, I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to have that tough conversation that, no, I actually am worth this much and I'm really scared of it, but I'm going to do it because I can feel with all 10 of us women that what's been happening isn't right and isn't really how we should approach things like this.
Yes.
And I love that that's in a cohort. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It's the model of us having community. Women need women. So it's so wonderful to see within just a few short weeks that we're cheering each other on, that we're having success. We know a little bit about our stories, and we help each other really it build that confidence to take the step. Because what I'm finding is that every woman has a superpower and they have something to give. And when they figure it out, there's very few skills that need to be taught for them to re-enter the workplace. It's more of a rediscovery of those talents and then them deciding how they want to use them.
I was actually going to ask you the question, do you feel that more women need confidence who come to see you, or more women need skills to re-enter the workforce?
So far, it's been confidence. It's so interesting. We've had women who say, I'm nothing. I don't know how to do anything. Well, I actually have a master's degree. And I'm like, how do those two go together? And so I think right now what I've seen so far is confidence, and skills come. If you're teachable, you can learn the skills. I want to add too that I feel like employers hire people. They want to hire competent, kind builders in their corporations. And if they see someone who is great to work with and has the ability to learn, they'll teach the skills. It's a much easier fit. So I think that also speaks to returners who have loads of experience, wisdom, extreme work ethic. I feel like it's a pretty easy hire.
I've totally seen that in places I've worked before, being on the hiring side, that you would think from a woman's perspective, if I feel like I need to have 100% of the qualifications, then why, when I'm looking to hire someone, that actually isn't what I'm looking for? So often when we would look for people, it was who's the person and the fit for our organization. I'm like, well, that part's easy to teach.
Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't even know how to do that, even if they got a degree in this thing, unless they actually worked at our organization, because we do it differently anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like the people who came in with the perfect resumes
Yes.
even necessarily knew how we did it, right?
Right.
So I can totally add my own perspective to that if you come with the intangibles, people like being around you. I mean, you spend a lot of time with the people you work with.
Yes.
And if people are just hard, you don't want to spend time no matter how good they are at their job.
Right. Right. You can have the most qualified, educated, skilled person, but if they're hard to work with, it's not going to be a fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit to your journey entering the workforce.
Yeah.
You had all this experience in volunteering and being a mom that absolutely translated. I love how you could pick apart actually what were the things that you loved. And I think women in those stages, whether they believe they're going to go back to work or want to go back to work or not, to pay attention, like, where am I actually good when I volunteer? Where am I happy when I volunteer? Because even if you're not paid for it and it's not the work you go back into, you can probably find better opportunities in community giving that fit you better and that are more fulfilling to you.
Right.
So I think that alone is like, everybody listening in, pay attention to how you feel at different organizations. Pay attention to what you're good at. Where do you really add a lot of value? But I want to pivot now to asking what that experience was like for you to return. I mean, you were maybe less typical in the fact that you had done a lot before, which I think more women do than they actually realize.
Yeah.
But what was it like when you were the one looking for the offer and you were valuing the money and evaluating yourself? What was that process like?
It was long. And to anyone listening in, I feel like the first step was me thinking about it a lot before I even was brave enough to say, I'm thinking about returning to work. I mean, literally just saying the words were so scary to me and talking to someone about it. But that's literally how it started, is I was thinking about it a lot and what that would look like. And then the thought of being paid for my skills felt overwhelming. I thought, just like I mentioned, what do I have to give? Who is going to pay me for this work that I can do? So it was a long process of thinking about it and then starting to verbalize it to trusted friends and then to other people. And I just want to say that it's okay to think about it and talk about it and then pause, and then to jump back in when it feels right again to you too. For me, I honestly think it was a 5-year process. And what I hope Return and Rise can do, and I know it can do, is really shrink that to literally months, weeks. because it was hard. It's hard to find your way back.
Yeah.
And so it was the first job that I actually took was a friend reached out to me and she was an hourly teacher. And she said, "Hey, do you want to come and try doing this hourly teaching job?" And I thought, okay, I'll try it. But what it turned out to be was I had to have a resume. I had to create a resume. We'll help you with that. Then I had to interview. And when I went to go interview, it was a video interview. And I thought, I've never done anything like this. So I pressed the video button and I had you couldn't record, you couldn't go back and edit it or delete it. So whatever you said it was in there and it was done. I thought, well, I definitely failed that. They're not going to call me for an in-person interview. Lo and behold, they did. So then I went to an in-person interview and I was scared to death. And I started coming up with this mantra, feel the fear and do it anyways. And then I came up with a hype song. So I had to have a hype song that I listened to when I was scared. So I have a hype song and I still listen to it when I feel nervous and need a little pump me up on my way to do something that feels out of my comfort zone. And I'd pull myself together and go and do the thing that felt scary. And I had the in-person interview and I got the job. And the transition was hard. And what I hope and know we're doing with Return and Rise is creating a clear path that makes it so much easier. Yeah.
And I love that you're coming from the place of, I've always been in, like, you're not coming from the place of, I've always been in the workforce. And this is just easy, you guys. Like, you're pretty fresh. You've not been doing this for that
fresh.
long.
Yes.
And for those of you watching or seeing clips on socials, like Jane is put together as it comes and beautiful and articulate. But knowing that the person that's going to be guiding you in these cohorts knows exactly what you're feeling and knows that sometimes faking it till you make it is the only way that you're going to show up for something.
Yes.
Is really encouraging. And I mean, I'm going to say this multiple times through this episode, but if you know someone in this situation, please don't let them do it alone. Please connect them with Jane and with Return and Rise because it's so much easier when you have a community of women.
It really is.
And it doesn't need to be 5 years. And I also had the thought, like, it's also okay. I mean, correct me if you're wrong, if you need something else from those who graduate your program, but I would guess you would even be okay if they come and do it. And then for 6 months after, they're looking for the right opportunity. It's not like they have to go find a job week 10 and like be a graduate that has a job or something,
Absolutely. Right? The end goal is a job. But I'm not saying you have to take a job if you do this course. I would love to help anyone on their journey. So if it's coming to take the classes and you refresh your skills and then you're like, my timing isn't right now, but I have these skills, I have this refresher, and I'm in 2 years or in 6 months or in 3 months, I'm taking the summer off, whatever it is. We just want to help. We have no other ulterior motive other than to help women get back to work with confidence and ability. So yes, you don't need to know what you want yet to come start this process.
I love it. And I think it would be helpful thinking myself going through it and saying, okay, after these 10 weeks, this is how, now I know what I want and I know who I am and I know how to pitch myself and how to interview all these things. Now I can be a little bit choosy about the job, where before it's like, what am I qualified for exactly? Because we're funny like that as women. I can say, now I have a real story. Now I can buy myself 4 months to really look around, or 6 months or a year, and say what really fits me, or take a job now while I'm looking for this dream job after and get right back in and then do something else. Like, go get the skills and work through maybe some of those hangups and the confidence issues with a cohort of women who are doing the same. You'll probably end up at a different place in the workforce as well than if you just went and did it yourself and undervalued, like you said, maybe the experience you already have or what you're already capable to do, because you've just been living inside your head and not having enough cheerleaders tell you, like, wait, you forgot the master's degree part.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Well, and I want to speak to anyone who finds themselves in a situation where they need to work right now. We also have an emergency employment hub on our website that is literally links to job applications for Uber drivers and for tutoring online. And there's several opportunities where you can start working now and have some income coming in take our classes, and then work towards getting a job. But there are so many women that find themselves suddenly in need of working. And we hope to help them as well, to just have this quick list of jobs that they can apply for to bring in immediate income and ideas of how to bring in immediate income. I want to speak to that as well. I think we think of, if I take this class, I have to go to a corporate job. That's not the case. The job market is so different. And so many women have so many talents that they can advertise on Instagram and on social media. So you may find that you want these skills and you're a great author. Well, we can show you how to have your books printed on Amazon and have passive income coming in from your book that you've just written, or become a real estate agent, or there's just so many options. Have your own business where if you're a good baker, sell your baked goods. You're a photographer. There are just so many opportunities where you can be home with kids, work when you want to, but still need some of those skills. How to use AI, we teach that. That's such a great tool now that you and I weren't taught in college because it didn't exist.
Wasn't around.
So
I love that. And there are so many hard things in the world today, but man, has the workplace become so much better for women.
it really has.
So much more flexible, so many more options. They're, like you said, self-publish a book and it's not even printed until someone buys it. So you're not putting all this time and money to sink into something before you know you can sell it. Like, there are so many different ways. And again, coming to people who are like practiced and do this all day, every day can be such a help. And so I love that you have both the emergency work opportunities, like how can I urgently get into something, be making some money that just alleviates a little bit of the pressure, because at some points it's like, unless I'm at least making some, I don't have the flexibility and the privilege of saying, what would I eventually want to have as my dream job?
Yes.
So to take that pressure off, that's so smart. I love that. I'd like to go back for just a second to the confidence piece.
Yes.
Because I've definitely seen this in my own life. I've seen with a lot of friends and people that I love. And I don't even think it's just returning to the workplace, but even daring to say I can go volunteer in a classroom or show up for the PTA or help in my congregation. I just feel so scared and that I don't have the skills or the tools to do that thing. How do you help women grow in confidence, or how have you done this yourself?
I think that's just a great question. I think that we can help women grow in confidence by teaching them that they can take risks. I think that sometimes the lack of confidence comes from this idea that we need to know what we're going to do when we get there, or that we need some sort of qualification to be at the PTA meeting or to show up for this service. Everyone has something they can contribute. And I think everyone has unique gifts. And identifying your unique gifts and helping others identify their unique gifts and realize maybe it's that you are everyone else's cheerleader. Maybe it's that you will come up and you'll set up the chairs for the event and you'll stay till it's over and you'll make sure that everything is put away. That actually is a gift that not everybody has or wants. So knowing and identifying gifts in others and then helping others see that in themselves and identifying it and recognizing and saying it, I think is such an easy gift we can give other people. And actually, I hope everyone listening will think of someone in their day today as they're listening to this podcast and think, who can I tell thank you, or who can I help identify their gift that they're doing? And it's a simple way to lift everyone as you're going about in your daily life. Is it the checker at the check stand who does an amazing job or knows your name? Is it someone that you see in the neighborhood that is always picking up trash? Like, I just think that we don't realize that small little compliments and identifying gifts really does add up to, I have the confidence now to go to this community meeting and to volunteer.
Love that.
I'll just share a story of a friend who did that for me. I have a friend who identified something that to me is so innate and ordinary to me that it doesn't even feel like a gift, but having her identify that gift in me made me realize it might be one of my superpowers, and that something really simple and easy for me, is not as easy and simple for someone else. And having someone identify that in me gave me the courage to do it more often, and then to have other people do that as well.
I love that. It's small, but it's very actionable. And I think we think a lot of things in our heads about people positively. Like, man, they just really are a natural at that. And they're really good at that. And every time I'm around them, they seem to be doing, but then we don't verbalize it and vocalize it. And if we just practice that more, how could I just call out the good that I see more often? When I'm with my children, when I'm with my husband, man, is that one that has helped my marriage? When it's just like, if I'm thinking thank you, say thank you.
Yes.
If I'm thinking he looks attractive, say he looks attractive. Like, we all need that back.
Yeah.
But how powerful, especially for someone who's like, I don't actually know where those gifts are. We've been on the other end of it. You just mentioned in your story, like I've definitely been on the other end where someone says one thing. My dad, actually, when I was little, I was in 8th grade and I'd had all straight A's, and academically, like I love school. I love reading. I love all of that. But he just said to me, like, you're actually really good at school. Had not dawned on me I was good at school.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think you could be valedictorian. I'd never heard the word. Didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could. And what is it? And then all of a sudden I had this thing that I was shooting for and aiming for. Now, he wasn't trying to plant a seed in my brain that I should be valedictorian. He literally was pointing out the obvious, that if you have straight A's, you probably could be valedictorian, and you probably have a gift at school, and you're probably a hard worker, but like there's probably some natural talent there as well. And so practicing saying those things more often, I think, is like such an easy takeaway that we can do as women every single day.
Yes. And it builds confidence, and that confidence, you never know if that one compliment, like your dad to you, may lead to them being willing to take a risk. I call it a risk, but I want to say more stepping out of their comfort zone into something new. Like, maybe I'll put my hat in the ring to volunteer with this community group. Maybe I'll take on a leadership role with this community organization. Maybe I'll apply for a job. You just never know what the tipping point is going to be. So I just love this idea of women and men building each other up as we go about in our lives. It costs us nothing. It's so simple, and you never know what the impact it might have on someone.
And if you're the one going around looking for that, it's training your brain to look for the good as well. Like great way to live yourself. A lot of give back in your own mind. Let's talk just a little bit more about women supporting women, and of course, men as well. And in talking specifically to women on this podcast, I never want it to be that men don't need that, or when men can't apply that. I have plenty of male listeners who apply everything I say, and it goes both ways. But I do think, because traditionally women haven't been in the workforce enough, there is an added need for us to support each other and to create opportunities. I had a really interesting conversation with a friend who was on a search committee for a new dean at a college. And she said, I sat in that room and they brought in all the candidates. And there were 3 women and I think 7 men who were there as the search committee. So they were the ones figuring out, I probably blew those numbers, but it was like the majority were men, right? And she said, as we looked at these candidates, the women were the ones who said that the women candidates probably shouldn't be the candidate, shouldn't be the ones hired. And she said, I just listened, and they were making comments like, they don't really look the part. That's not who I normally see in this position. And they were, without thinking, they weren't trying to take women out of the running. They had a bias that they weren't checking to say, I normally see men as the dean of colleges. I don't normally see women. So my mind can't picture it. And then this friend and I, it ended up that she actually spoke out and she said, I think you need to check your assumptions. Is the only reason you don't think they look like a dean because you've never seen a female dean? And the women just sat back and thought, why in the world, as a woman, how did I not catch that was what I was coming out of my mouth? You'd think of anyone, I would be sensitive to the fact that we should consider other candidates, right? But then she and I just had this interesting conversation that where do we have this bias built in, and where can we call it out and be a little bit more vocal in a really warm way to say, is there any other reason we're not considering this candidate? Or is there anyone else you know who may not have applied that has the qualifications but maybe didn't have the confidence for this, that we'd love to come try in this position? And I think there's a lot of things we can do, but we may have to be a little bit more thoughtful and intentional about it, because our first thoughts and our first biases might be that women can't do this kind of work, or women shouldn't be approached for this, or they're not as qualified, when it's just not true, and that there's really there's no foundation for that other than it's just what we've seen before.
Yeah. I love that you're pointing this out, because my initial thought is that as we as women step into roles that are new and different than we're used to seeing, we have influence. Just by being there, you are opening doors for the women behind you. And I feel like I've spent my life watching women and being mentored by women when they didn't even know it. I have kind of chosen women that I want to be like, and I've seen them in roles that I want to follow. So just by accepting that dean position or that president position, we are breaking through the glass ceiling and allowing other girls, younger girls than us, and women, mature women, see that it's possible. So I love that idea of just being brave and taking on new roles that may not have been taken before.
Something I've been really impressed with is the women in my life who approached work and opportunities with abundance.
Oh, me too.
I'm going to tell one other story here.
It's beautiful.
It's life-changing, right? Because I think we both experienced women who are scarce and what that feels like. Like there's just not enough, and there's not enough positions, and there's not enough money. And I've also experienced on the other side, and here's a small experience, but it was like a teaching within a teaching. She wasn't trying to teach anything by doing this, but we have a mutual friend, Shima Boffman, who we both love, who recently gave a devotional at Ensign College. And as I'm taking in everything she's saying, and she's like a phenomenal teacher, I'm watching her PowerPoint, and at every point in her slides, she was calling out something good a woman had done without ever saying it. She told the story of a mutual friend, Jenny Guthrie, who has this seminary class, and up on the projector is a picture of this woman and this boy that she was teaching. And then she had some artwork from another friend, Jess Kettle, and that was up there. And it wasn't just her art, it had her name at the bottom. And then another friend who was up there with her teaching, and there pops up Brooke Romney's face. I mean, it was like, she was showing that, like, even in my own opportunities, there's ways I can be abundant to turn the spotlight on to 100 other women. Yes. And it blew my mind. I was like, how did she, without even, most of the names she didn't even say. It was a little artwork here or a little picture that included someone else here. And it wasn't her saying like, here's my besties, I'm so cool. She was saying, I have a moment in the spotlight right now, and I want to share all the other people who deserve the spotlight too. But I think abundance is something we could do better at as women. I'm going to be that bold. It's not just like, oh, it's so nice when we are. If you are in a scarcity mentality and you're the reason someone else isn't getting jobs or isn't getting paid or isn't getting promoted, like, you can do better, and you're going to have a much happier life. You're probably sad because of it. Can I be that bold, Jane?
I love it. Keep going. Preach.
Totally preaching.
I couldn't agree more. I have been the beneficiary of women championing me. In fact, today for this podcast, a dear friend outfitted my shirt and my earrings because I didn't have time to go find something else. And I just think, thank you. I needed that. And someone else has sat down with me and brainstormed ideas for what I'm doing. And just another shout out to Shay Baker, who is the program manager for Return Utah. When I was applying for a grant for the first time, and entering this new world of nonprofits and building nonprofits, she reached out and has been totally available to help me in this process. And I just am so incredibly grateful for women who are abundant in their thinking. I think the name Return and Rise is so beautiful and appropriate, because when we all unite together and help each other, we all rise. Mm-hmm. And there's room enough for all of us. As we see each other enter similar spaces, instead of thinking, how can I be better than that person so that I succeed? I hope we as women mentor each other so we both succeed, because even in the returning programs in Utah, there are a lot of us, but we're all unique, and we all have a place and a role to play. And it's been so beautiful to see the organizations coming together. We want to work together to help each other succeed and reach as many women as we can. And that is such a beautiful thing. And it's not always women. I love men who are abundant in their thinking. Absolutely. Because it applies to them as well. When we think in abundance, that there more is more, that there's room for everyone, it has been so incredible to see how successful these companies and organizations are as they give to the community. Somehow the community gives back, and they do, and their organizations grow. So I hope and challenge. I have to say, I have somewhat of a scarcity background with finances and things, and it's been so wonderful to learn new skills and to learn a new way to do it, that more is more, that there's room for everyone. And as we work together and collaborate, we rise, and we grow. And it has been one of the greatest lessons I've learned in returning to work.
So beautiful. And I don't think if anyone were to have asked that question, they would think that that would be the lesson, right?
Yeah.
But if you can live with an abundant mentality and you can give that to other people, there is enough in this world. There's enough jobs. There's enough people to cheerlead you and for you to cheerlead. And if you're living it all in a place of scarcity, what a great opportunity today to like follow Jane's lead and say, where could I be more abundant in how I'm thinking about whether it's opportunities for others or even for myself, to have a belief that there's a place for me and I have value. And
can I add too,
Yeah.
that if we're not thinking abundant with ourselves, I think it starts there. We sometimes are stuck with scarcity about ourselves. I don't have this. I'm not enough. I don't know what I'm going to give. Who would want my help? Who would want me to work at their place? Whatever it is, I'm not enough. Try to shift that to abundant thinking about yourself, and watch as you have that shift for your whole life, that there is enough, there's enough time, there's enough love for everyone. There's enough jobs. It really can turn a lonely or dark life into a beautiful, colorful one. And I also just want to say that I hope the message today is that if you don't have cheerleaders in your life, if you don't have people who are championing you, they're out there. You look for them and find people who will do that for you. And if I can be that for you, come and work with me and come and take our program. I would love to help you identify how I can help and how we can cheer you on in what you're doing, because everyone deserves a cheerleader and a champion. And I truly believe that everyone has a divine gift, or multiple divine gifts and ways to contribute. And whether it's in your community, in your families, or at a workplace, that everyone has those innate gifts that are yours to give and make our world a better place.
I share that belief. On this podcast, we talk, just last episode, I did a whole section on women are builders. That is the community who comes to Lizzy Jensen Show. They recognize that they want their life to be more than just about themselves, but sometimes we don't know how to get there. And so I love that this month's focus is return and rise. Yes. And that for the whole month, every time you share an episode, $1 goes to return and rise to help another woman gain that confidence and belief in herself. I'd love to end with this question. What does return and rise mean to you personally?
Oh, I think it's so personal to me because it's my story. And I think that my path was long, and it was, I beat myself up along the way. And if I can help anyone, if it was one person, and we already have helped people, but if I can help you, whoever's listening, to make that journey faster and less painful, I am your girl. I will help you. And this program can help you to identify your gifts, to know what you want, to figure out what you want, to have the space to stop and start, and to succeed.
For those listening in, the next cohort starts April 16th.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
But then it's on a rolling basis. So whenever you hear this episode, if this is you, reach out to Return and Rise. You'll find them. We'll put everything in the show notes where you can contact them. And just a huge thank you, Jane, for walking the path alone first, so you could have all the experience and know what it feels like for these women who are now going to find you and not have to walk that same path, but create a space for them to feel loved and to feel championed. I don't think there are many cheerleaders as good as Jane Clayton at cheering you on. And I mean that sincerely. She sees things and believes in you in a really unique way. That is one of your superpowers and gifts. Let me call out a superpower today. That's what we challenged everyone else to. So I can't wait for all these women listening in to find you and just give their gift and make the unique impact that they have to make on the world. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
As I've been thinking about this conversation with Jane, I keep coming back to a few things she said about confidence, about taking risks before you feel ready, and about how much it matters for women to believe in other women. So many of the opportunities in our lives come because someone believed in us before we even fully believed in ourselves. And one of the most powerful things we can do is to be that person for someone else, to open doors, to give someone a shot, to not be another woman's ceiling, but to be a ladder for them. I hope that part of our conversation touched you like it touched me. And I hope we keep thinking about it this week. Who can you encourage? Who can you support? And where can you be a little braver yourself? I also just want to remind you why this episode matters so much and why this month is so special on the show. This month is part of our Share Good, Do Good campaign, where every single download of this podcast equals $1 donated to Return and Rise. This month's Share Good, Do Good campaign is made possible by Capita Financial Network. Capita is covering the donations for this month, which means that every time you download this episode or share this episode, for every single listen, Capita is making a donation directly to Return and Rise. I'm so grateful for them for doing this and also being the kind of company that wants to use their success to help other people succeed too. So if this episode meant something to you, the best thing you can do is simply share it with a friend, send it to a sister, a daughter, a coworker, or a mom, because they need it and because every download really does turn into real help for real women. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We'll see you next week.